What's up, Rob?
What's up, buddy?
Good to see you.
Good to see you, man.
So you want to introduce yourself for the viewers, please?
Yeah. So I'm Rob Kundysek. I fight out of Brian's, kickboxing, and light heavyweight, 205. I fight mostly for Northwest Fight Challenge. I hold that belt and defended it a few times. So yeah.
Yep. Well, it's good to have you on, man. Thank you for coming on. I know Brian called me, I think it was like the day the episode dropped.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here with Rob, down to do the episodes. And I was like, fuck yes.
Yeah.
Because like I was saying earlier, Julian was like, well, maybe, Julian Martin, shout out.
Yeah.
He's like, maybe get Rob on. And so I was like,
Yeah. Julian's my guy, man. He'll be on here eventually.
Good.
But yeah, I'm stoked, man. I like it. You know, I thought about doing a podcast a couple years ago. I announced on Facebook and I was going to do it, and I was super stoked. And it was just going to be about fighters' origin stories. I still might do it, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, that's what's important. Is people want to hear. But I was then featured on a podcast for business by some business owner dude I know, and it was they made it so fucking complicated that it scared me away from the podcast. He had freaking people everywhere and all kinds of crazy equipment. So this, I feel a little bit more comfortable. But yeah, I did that one. I'm like, fuck, I don't want no part of this. Let's scrap the podcast. But this, knowing that it could be done, like this, is just fucking, it's awesome. I like it.
Yeah, it's basically as low rent as I can get.
Hey, dude, it works.
Yeah, thank you.
It works. I'll tell you now, that dude was spending a ton of money on them podcasts and a bunch of important people and this and that.
Yep.
And, they turn out the same, bro. It's just what it is. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing to do.
Well, and that's funny you say that, because a lot of people do reach out. Not a lot, but some. They're like, man, you gotta get like the 2-camera thing, and then where it switches. And I'm like, you don't understand. I'm doing this for free.
Yeah.
Like this doesn't. I don't get paid for this, and I'm not necessarily planning on it. Maybe it'll lead to something, but. To get the expensive cameras and then the auto switcher, or to have somebody come and do all that stuff, it like adds layers and layers and layers, which would take away from my time to be able to do this.
I mean, I think it's what makes it cool. Nowadays on social media and online, it's just everybody's got sick ass videos of themselves and all this professional shit. This is, to me, cool. For years, I've been watching those soft white underbellies, like people's stories, and they'll fucking pull people off Skid Row in LA and ask them, how they got there. And some of them are fucking, own companies and they fell on their ass or whatever it might be. But I've always loved that. That is a black curtain, a fucking chair, and a camera and a dude. And that's it. And that's one of the biggest, podcast. I don't know if it's a podcast, but whatever, vlog deal, YouTube thing in the world.
Right.
And that dude, I'm sure he has all the expensive stuff, but it's
not necessary.
It's not necessary. And people love it.
Yeah. Quality.
So I'm into this. Cool.
Thank you. Yeah. Well, thank you again for coming on.
Yeah, man.
So you mentioned you got the belt at 205.
Yeah.
How many times have you defended that? I know it was at least once. Cause I think
3. I got 4 belts, so I won it and then 3 defenses. Yeah.
That's a lot, man.
Yeah, it's been wild the last couple of years.
Cool.
Yeah.
So what's your origin story? I know that was something that we were kind of talking about getting into a little bit.
Yeah, dude. So. Fighting, anytime you talk about fighting, it's what I'm super interested in. I see all these fighters and it's like, dude, why in the fuck are you doing this? You know what I mean? I even ask myself sometimes. I'm getting ready to go into my 5th nose surgery, October 29th, right?
Fun.
And it's like, dude, why in the fuck are you doing this? And I ask myself that a lot, and I'll be asking myself that again the closer the surgery gets. It's like, dude,
probably right after.
What are you doing, right? And so for me, it's like that's the most important thing. I don't care who you fought. I don't care what your record is. I don't care. I want to know if I like you and I want to get to know you. I want to know why in the fuck are you here getting your ass kicked or beating people up every day, for fun. And so
takes a certain kind of person.
You know what I mean? It really does. And there's one thing I love about the fight gyms. Is you go in there, you got all these different types of people. Brian's got freaking cops in there. He's got dudes tattooed down the face. He's got freaking.
I love the mix.
Yeah. Oh, he's got kids, bro. He's got freaking. There's a dude in there. He's got a Asian guy in there. He's like 65 years old that just rocks people. Rocked me, put me on fucking skates before, you know. And it's just, he owns a fucking teriyaki restaurant. And I just, dude, I just love that there's all these different people, but there's something that connects us, right?
Yep.
And when I start thinking about like, what is that? Because it's something weird, it's something off, you know, fucking.
Something primal, I think.
Bro, something primal, something different, whatever you want to call it. It's like, dude, you got all these fucking people that would never say a word to each other outside of this place. And they're in here and they're meshing and they're scrapping, they're beating each other up and they're fucking, and they're friends or whatever it might be. And I'm trying to figure out like, what is it? What's the common denominator in here, you know? And so anyway, that's what I like to talk about. But
yeah,
my story in particular is, you know, for fighting goes way, 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 way back. You know, I was raised by just crazy people in a crazy area, and just, you know, kind of what a lot of people would call a fucked up childhood, whatever. It was like that. It was definitely wrong. There was a lot of good parts to it. I had a lot of fun and I had a good family, and, you know, they promoted, you know, loyalty and love and all that good stuff, and they kept us safe. I never felt unsafe as a kid, and that stuff's all important. But these guys were, you know, my uncles and my dad and shit, even females, my family were just obsessed with violence, like absolutely addicted to violence. It's all we talked about. It's all we cared about. It didn't matter if that guy was a better man than you, made more money than you, could you kick his ass? You know, that's all that mattered. Mm-hmm. And so I came up like that. And as a kid, even as young as like 9-10 years old, it's really all that was ever ingrained in me that was important. So all the stuff, obviously you and I know that's not all that's important, right? Is whether you can,
small fraction.
Whether you can kick somebody's ass is not your fucking measure of a man, right? Or whatever.
Right.
But that's what I was taught. So I had to figure out all this other stuff. I'm a business owner. I have kids. I have a wife. All this shit didn't just come. I didn't wake up one day and it was like this. You know, I had to figure all this stuff out on my own. It was a long journey. And then somehow still be true to myself, which is a fighter and a violent person, while trying to create a normal life and not be a fucking crazy person like the people who brought me up, right? And so yeah, that's a cool story, and that's really kind of what I'm interested in telling, you know, and talking about, and if it, you know, if it fucking helps somebody, cool, you know. But I've learned a lot of stuff, dude, on the way, and so yeah, I can get into it. You know,
yeah,
I can get into it. You know, my uncle was a boxer. You know, he was in prison for a lot of years, and back then, you know, you see these old videos like Bernard Hopkins boxing in prison and shit. So back before they banned prison boxing, you know, he was the man in there, and so we got pictures and videos and all kinds of stuff. But he was a boxer in prison, and he was a bad dude. And it was like, at a very, very young age, it was like, okay, you know, I got a bunch of cousins, a bunch of stuff, and he was like, you're gonna be my fighter, you know. And so he started working with me, and it was like, and just kind of like, when I talk about the way that I was raised and the stuff that I was taught, it's kind of crazy to some people. Probably just really, really could never understand. I could explain it all day and it wouldn't click. But it was like, you know, just rules. There's rules to this shit in my family of coming up with these guys. And I took them all and ran with them as a kid, you know, and it shaped me and who I was, and caused a lot of trouble for me growing up, you know, teenage years and stuff like that. But yeah, my uncle was a big part of that. He was a really good fighter. He was a crazy guy, you know. He was nuts. He was fearless. Absolutely, I don't think the guy even knew what fear meant. And I grew up watching him fight, you know, on the streets and watching his old videos, and you know, he was a huge boxing fan, so I became a boxing fan. We were into Mexican fighters. You know, guys, my family is funny. I try to tell, me and Julian talk about this, because I'll tell him my favorite fighters. He's like, what the fuck? Why? And I'm like, because, bro, it didn't matter how good of a fighter you were. It was your fucking Mexicans call it like your chismo or whatever it is, right? It's like your energy. And so, you know, I grew up with fucking Ricardo Mayorga and Fernando Vargas and these type of just crazy, just forward type of fighters, and that's who we idolized. You know,
my favorite when I first learned was Eric Morales before he started getting lit.
Oh, dude, all them guys. You know, my young cousins, my uncle's kids, is Ricardo and Marco, and it's Marco. They're named after Ricardo Mayorga and Marco Antonio Barrera, right?
I was gonna say Barrera.
Yeah, so that's kind of how we grew up. Boxing was always a huge part of it. You know, I grew up. Kicking was for girls. You know what I'm saying? Wrestling was fucking no good.
Yeah.
The UFC stuff, no, fuck all that. We're watching boxing, right?
Right.
And so my uncle, man, he was such a big personality that we lived in Southern California. He lived in the desert in Riverside, and it got to the point where he had all the neighborhood kids at the house, and we were like fucking entertainment, like fighting roosters for the adults who were all fucking getting drunk and stoned and watching us scrap, you know. And I was the champ for the fucking neighborhood league long before any of this bullshit. I wore the belt, you know. So there's a picture somewhere. I'll have to show it to you before I leave. But it's me. Your own belt. It's me. I'm like 11, and there's a row of like 30 kids my age, right? No exaggeration. I'll show you this fucking picture. And I got the boxing gloves on, and it was that day, you know, my uncle was like, I really like Terrence Crawford, because he talks about his mom saying, "You fuck $5, you whoop my kid's ass," or whatever. Mm-hmm. That's how I grew up. It was like, line up, motherfuckers. He's going to run through all of you guys round after round after round after round, you know. And so I have the picture, and that day I had boxed every kid in that fucking line. And so that's how I grew up. It was fucking crazy, dude. My parents and uncles and my family's in and out of prison and fucking, you know, crazy stuff. But the main takeaway of that is these guys were just absolutely addicted to violence. Nothing else mattered. Your ability to whoop somebody's ass was greater than your ability to support your fucking family or whatever else. It didn't matter. All we talked about was who's gonna fuck, you know,
fighting
who's the
solves
man?
everything.
Who's the man?
Yep.
They used to teach me about like a pecking order, and like, you know, you walk into any room, there's a pecking order, right? Yep. So as a man, I struggle with that stuff still, because it's like, it's toxic shit. You know, it's not good shit. I ain't gonna sit here and back it up. But you want to know why I became a fighter and why I'm, you know, make tons of money and own a couple businesses and I still get in a cage for free and fucking fight people is this is why. You know, it was ingrained in me like that. But yeah, man, I grew up like that, and you know, eventually my uncle died. Rest in peace, got shot, and you know, and my dad. One thing I'll say as a kid, here's how my fighting journey kind of started. Right, it was started in backyard boxing, and this was a daily occurrence. If they could find a kid that can whoop me, you know, they were having him whoop me every day to make me tougher. You know, it was a weird thing like that, and they eventually did, by the way. He was fucking like 5 years older than me, but I'd be like 11 years old and they were like a 15-year-old. But it was a rough way to grow up, you know, and it meant everything to me. You know, it meant everything to me. It's all that mattered, like I said, and it kind of shaped me into it. But one thing I'll say is that as a kid, I was always so safe because I had this fucking big scary dad and this uncle that literally was like Al Capone of our area. Nobody fucked with him, right? And eventually, you know, my parents split up. I was about 10 and my dad was out of the picture, and my uncle gets shot and killed. I was 13, and all of a sudden safety was gone. You know, it was just me. I didn't have any older siblings. I didn't have any older anybody. It was just me, and that's really where my fighting journey kind of began, truly. I went from, you know, we had moved to Joplin, Missouri, and we lived in Missouri for, I don't know, 6-7 years or something. I went to elementary school there, and we were out in the woods all the time, and we were fucking fishing and doing all kinds of cool family stuff and all that good stuff. And then my parents, you know, decide when I was about 10 to move back to Southern California. You know, we lived in Garden Grove, which isn't a horrible area or nothing. It was great. I had you know, it was a culture shock, let's say that, because I went from, you know, living in a house on a street with maybe 5 other kids, to living in an apartment complex with fucking 150 kids, you know, and being exposed to all kinds of crazy shit just by the different, like, levels of fucking corruption in these areas or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
And I try not to use a bunch of big words I don't understand, but you get it. It's just different, right?
Well, yeah,
I went from
you're
small
packed
town
into fucking a large community in such a small area. Like, you're gonna experience all levels of shit.
Yeah, so I went from overnight, you know, we were in a fucking U-Haul truck driving everything we owned from Joplin, Missouri, this little small town vibe shit, to you know, Anaheim, Garden Grove, Santa Ana, these fucking areas. I lived all over all of them. And it was just highly populated. You know, I went from not knowing, it was just all fucking white kids in Missouri, to being like one of the only white kids at my school. It's a Mexican area, you know, Hispanic area, and shit like that. You know, shit changes, you know. And so anyway, that happens. I move out there, and, you know, my parents split up. My uncle dies, you know, I'm right there. And I'm alone, dude. All of a sudden, I got no fucking nobody. And I had, you know, I tell people this a lot, but eventually a lot of people know me back home, you know, they knew I was fucking hell on wheels, and, you know, I was you know, just whatever, dude. There wasn't a lot of people fucking with me, let's say that. But when I moved there, it was like a situation where I kind of had to turn into that, because I moved there and I had fucking full braces, bottle cap glasses, $15 fucking Goodwill shoes. I didn't have shit. You know, I was broke as fuck. I cut my own hair. I was bald when it wasn't cool to be bald, because that's the only thing I could take a fucking one clip and cut my hair, you know. And I'm going to school, and I'm this fucking kind of country boy from Missouri. You know, I'm born and raised in Orange County, LA, but, you know, the only thing I know is this backwoods out there fishing, fucking barbecuing, all that good stuff. And then all of a sudden I'm just in the city with, you know, to be blunt, just all Mexican kids, you know what I'm saying? And here I am, this tall, skinny white kid that had fucking full braces and retainer bars and bottle cap glasses. I was getting fucked with on a daily basis. And, you know, and so before you know it, I just said, fuck it, dude, I know how to fight. You know, I'm trying to make friends with people. I try to be cool. It ain't working out. And so before, you know, it didn't take long where I was getting kicked out of school constantly and fighting. And you know, I was never like the best fighter or whatever, but I just didn't give a fuck, you know. I just fight anybody, and constantly doing that. And a lot of people talk about, oh, I've been in hundreds of street fights and all this dumb shit, and you know, it's easy to like, oh yeah, whatever, dude. But I really was, you know, starting at a really young age. And so when it got to a point where shit was going bad, I was getting fucked with, you know, bullied, whatever. I didn't even know, nobody even knew my fucking name for like 3 years. It was White Boy. That was my name. You know what I mean? And so, you know, and so eventually it was like, man, fuck you, you know? And so, that's how it was. And my whole life just turned upside down so fast that I didn't have a choice. And I'm looking around and I'm like, man, who do I got? I live with my fucking grandparents. My mom's fucking whatever. My dad's fucking gone. My uncle's dead. My cousins are all moved away. I got nobody. I got no fucking friends. I got nobody. I'm getting fucked with on a daily basis. And so I just decided, fuck it, dude. I'm gonna go down swinging, you know? Yeah. And so that's when I started fighting, and started really like developing a love for it. You know, I hated to lose. I still do. I won't fucking lose. I hate to lose. It keeps me up at night. You know, even now I'm so fucking petty. I'm 32 years old, and I think about shit in junior high. I'm like, man, I could have got that, dude. All I had to do was, you know, whatever it is, right?
Yeah, those ones that you struggle to let go of. Yeah, dude, I get it.
It's fucking nuts, but
I think we all have that. Because as soon as you said that, I'm like, this one. I'm like, fuck yeah.
I'm glad to hear it, because I tell myself, I'm like, bro, what the fuck is wrong with you? You're thinking about this fucking fight you had when you were 14 years old. But
well, I think like everybody has like a look back at like, damn, I fucked up, or like maybe it's not the fight, maybe it's the girl they didn't pull, or maybe it's, you know, so everyone's got like a weird regret from before you knew what the fuck was actually going on, or like. Not like we all know what's going on now, but
that's it. I think as I learned how to like really fight, it's like, fuck, dude, you start thinking back, you're like, shit, all I had to do was fucking roll a little bit. You
don't know what you don't know.
Yeah. But
I wish I had the knowledge I did now back then too.
Yeah. But yeah, dude. So that's kind of how I grew up, and then it fucking just goes downhill from there. I'm getting in trouble constantly. I'm in and out of juvenile hall. That's where the Frankenstein thing comes from. I was sitting in juvenile hall. I was 14 years old, and I was like the youngest one there. You know, they put me in a fucking unit with all the kids that were aging out to go to county. So I'm 14. And I was, I'm fucking 14. I'm in there with a bunch of 18-year-olds. I'm being fucking corrupted by all kinds of crazy shit. And I'm having to fight these guys, and just gladiator school, you know what I mean? And that was my life, dude. My life was fucking absolute garbage for a long, long time. It was nothing but sad stories. It was nothing but bullshit. And it made me tough. And it made me, and the one thing I could always lean back on was fighting. You know, I was good at it. I was always good at it. My uncle taught me a lot of different things, not just how to fight, but how to fucking just whatever. How to hold your head high, how to get your ass kicked and still be able to look in the mirror, how to fucking fight multiple people at once, how to, whatever, right? All the prison tricks and all that stuff. Yeah. And so, yeah, none of that stuff's really important now, other than I'm still at 32 years old trying to fucking process and deal with some of the ways, some of the things I was taught. I have my own son now, who's the exact opposite of me. He's very fucking gentle and very sweet and very kind, and he doesn't wish no harm on nobody. And if I start talking to him about fights, he's looking at me like, he literally told me the other day, it's funny because I was born in 93, so I grew up in the 2000s. I didn't grow up in the fucking 90s, but he tells me, I'm like, dude, your dad is a champion kickboxer. Let me take you in this fucking garage and teach you how to defend yourself. It's gonna happen. Yeah. It's gonna happen, bro. And you wanna know, what if somebody's fucking with your little friend? And he looks at me and he's like, Dad, it's not the fucking 90s anymore. He didn't say fucking, but Dad, it's not the 90s anymore. Nobody's fighting anybody.
Does that not hit you sort of like, I'm like, because I get similar little talkbacks like that too. I'm like, it kind of hits me here. I'm like, damn, you don't have to prove yourself the way I did anymore?
Bro, it's for me, it's just like, dude, I'm looking at him and I'm like, on one hand, it's everything I ever wanted. Everything I ever wanted was to give my kid the fucking, everybody says it's super cliche, the life you fucking never had or whatever. But it's truly, dude, the second the kid was born, I'm like fucking looking at him in his eyes like, you are not gonna live like I had to. But then I'm sitting there and on one hand I'm saying that, and on the other hand I'm like, you got to be able to fucking sock somebody up, dude.
Well, I think you want them to be capable if that shows up. So I talk about like that insecurity when people walk in the room. You talk about the pecking order. Yeah. There definitely is one. Yeah. I just did a podcast with a guy from Synergy. His name's John. Yeah. And he talks about like how the energy shifts when they know who you are. Yeah. Yeah. And they know that. So I think having the confidence to walk into a situation, knowing that you can at least hold your own. Yeah. It adds a big layer of confidence through life. Yeah. And so like you're talking about your family like really breeding that into you. And you say like, I don't have to do any of that now, but you know how to hold yourself. You know how to hold yourself in a room full of 30 people. You're telling about right before you came here, you're going in, and that level of confidence, it takes going through hardship, I believe, and finding out that you can still stand tall through winning and losing, and there's gonna be a tomorrow, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, so I'm in that spot right now, dude. I'm 32 years old, right? I got a lot of fucking problems. And I sit there and it's like, dude, my life, I have everything I ever wanted, I really do. I have everything I ever wanted. I had the wife I always wanted. I had the kids. I got a boy and a girl. I got the 2 businesses. I got everything I ever wanted. And I'm looking around and it's like, but I'm still having trouble with the way I grew up and trying to process some of this different shit and like put a fucking brain behind it, because a lot of this shit was just brainless shit, generational curses they talk about. It's just passed down and nobody fucking knows why. It just is, right? And so I'm like trying to think past this stuff and it's like, dude, would I be who I am to my kids, to my wife, to my fucking employees, to my customers, whatever, if I didn't grow up like that? And the answer is probably no, but you're still sitting there and you're like, but fuck, that was rough. Man, that was rough. And when you carry that stuff through life and you still feel the same feelings you did as a fucking teenager or whatever, and I do sometimes, right? I have issues being in fucking crowded places and I'm hyper vigilant. I'm fucking, always looking for somebody trying to fucking get me or whatever. And it's like you live with that shit and it's rough. But then you look back and it's this oxymoron, because you're looking back and you're like, well, fucking, it had to be that way, dude. Look how it turned out.
I mean, they always say like you're a product of your environment, which you are to a degree, but I think that you've really broken that already. And the fact that so think about those family members that were like, no, this is how you're going to be, right? Yeah. They're preparing you to the best of their capabilities probably. Yeah. And you having gone through that and be like, I don't have to be that person now. Yeah. I have the experience of it and now I can analyze it. Yeah. Because I think fighting and the way we have to analyze ourselves and be super critical of ourselves and stuff, especially to get to a high level champion kickboxer like you are. Yeah. you're not going to be able to bullshit yourself.
Yeah.
You know, there's very few people. And so I think that you really went through some shit, and now you're able to provide a good feedback or a good position to kind of pass less of that on, but the capability thing is
the good parts. Yeah, I mean
the good parts.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah.
I was not doing well articulating.
No. I have a hard time too. Sometimes I try to use big words. I just said oxymoron. I've never said that in my fucking life. But there's a camera on me. I'm going to say oxymoron. I don't even know if that's what it meant. Or if it even fucking.
I wouldn't even have thought about it until you brought it up.
But yeah, that was growing up. I mentioned the Frankenstein thing. That's where it came from. So I'm sitting in juvenile home, and I had 2 books. You know what I'm saying? I had the Bible and I had the fucking original. I don't know if it was original, but whatever. The Mary Shelley Frankenstein. So I'm reading it, and I remember he's talking about. They're talking about fucking. He says, if I can't have love, then I'll cause fear. And I remember. That's how I grew up. I just wanted friends. I just wanted to fucking fit in. I just wanted people. I just wanted a normal life. I wanted to go to fucking high school dances. You know what I mean? I wanted a normal life, but it just wasn't happening. So eventually I just said, well, fuck it then. This is how it's going to be, and this is how I'm going to be. And it caused me a lot of fucking heartache. But I feel like, I do this podcast, and I try to talk to these kids, and I got a lot of people that, that probably feel some of that. Where it's like, I'm just going to be a monster then. If you don't want to hang out with me, then every fucking time you look at me, you're going to think, I better get away from that guy. Mm-hmm. And so that's kind of how it was, dude. And so anyway, there was that, and then the whole like premise behind Frankenstein just fits so perfect because he's a man-made monster. Some dude stitches him up, and he hates the dude for it. He's like, the whole time he's turning around like, why'd you fucking do this to me? I can't be friends with anybody. I can't have a wife. I can't have a normal life, and I want one bad. And you fucked me. You built me like this. Yeah. And that's how I've always thought of myself. With the people that brought me up and my family members. It's like, dude, you done stitched me together all fucked up and send me out into the world, and I'm supposed to make something happen. Thank God I did.
I was going to say, you're doing pretty well,
Thank God I did, dude, but it wasn't without fucking, craziness. So.
Imagine if you hadn't come back out of that, though. Where would you be now? And you had your journey and being able to come back out of that, whatever that took. I know we haven't gotten that far yet. But, dude, that resilience. Yeah. And there's going to be people out there that are like, I find myself, like I used to work with in a warehouse with a couple people like that, like fighting solves everything. You say it all the time and be like, well, I'd kick your ass. And I'm like, you're going to get fired. I'm going to get hurt because you could kick my ass for sure, especially at this age. Shout out to Brandon Cruz. But I'm sure he doesn't watch this. Yeah. But anyway, and then he saw me stand all stupid and he's like, that's how you stand when you're about to fight. So he like started fixing it right away and actually showed me. I'm like, oh shit. But when you realize that pecking order is real in every room you go into, it does, but like having that confidence, being like, all right, like if I'm going to be that guy, then maybe you'll win, maybe you'll lose, but you're never going to want to go through this again. Yeah.
Well, it translates, dude. It's like, like I said, I'm thankful for it now. I'm still trying to figure out how to like fucking deal with it. I've said that a bunch of times, but ultimately I'm thankful for it now because now I'm not dealing with bullies and fucking dickheads and the rest of it, but I'm dealing with business owners and people that have a lot more money than me and a lot more, whatever status. And I got to walk in that room and fucking stick my chest out and say, what's up? I'm Rob. This is fucking nice to meet you. How you doing? This is what we do. This is how we take care of you. And I would have never been able to do that if it wasn't for some of the stuff these people taught me, which is, hey, dude, it doesn't fucking matter. You lose, you come back every day and you fight. I was talking about these meetings I have. I get all my work from plumbers. So if you're a plumber or you know a plumber and you watch this, I'm your water damage guy. We'll pay you. We'll fucking hook you up. And we do really good work. So I'm constantly, my mission is to get more plumbers to refer work to me. Mm-hmm. And so I'm out there trying to mesh with these plumbers all the time, these owners and this and that and the rest. And number one, I'm 32 years old. Most of these guys are fucking in their 50s or 60s, and I'm all tattooed and shit. And they're all looking at me like, "What the fuck? Who dragged this fucking guy in here?" And
or at least that's what you're thinking.
It feels that way, but I have to undo all that, and I have to use this stuff. And so it's really a blessing. It served me well in the cage. It served me well in the gym. It served me well in business. And, you know, and it is what it is. I feel like my passion and my fucking, what keeps me going is, you know, I really got a heart for people that are like me, that have went through similar things and come up all fucked up, and they're trying to navigate the world. And, you know, one thing I made a post about recently, but one thing that's really cool with my business, bro, is it's a young man's game. So, you know, we do demo work, right? So your pipe breaks in your kitchen and floods this whole place out. We got to rip out walls and cabinets and whatever.
Oh yeah.
And an insurance company, and you get all that bullshit, which is what what I specialize in, is dealing with those guys and making sure the insurance company isn't screwing our customers and all that stuff.
Okay, good.
So it's cool for me because, number one, I get to come in and help people, normal ass people, working class people that pay for to buy a home, and it's their biggest investment. I get to help them not get screwed by their insurance company.
So you're kind of defending the little man.
Yeah, I'm
I'm
like the lawyer, you know, in the thing. It's like, no, dude, you're not going to give them $1,200 to replace all their kitchen cabinets. This is $20,000 worth of cabinets, you know? Fuck off. So that's what I make a living doing, and I've gotten really good at it. But I get to help people, and I also get to, you know, I don't know, minister is the right word, but whatever, have some say, help these guys, these young guys. I have 28 employees. I have some admin guys that are a little bit older, but for the most part, they're all between 20 and 30, you know, a lot of them between 20 and 25, because it's just freaking mindless hard work, right?
Yep.
And I get to, you know, and I watch these guys navigate life, and I get to be there for them, and I get to say, hey, you know, there ain't a lot of shit I haven't been through. And so I get to sit there and say, hey, dude, yeah, I went through something like that too, you know. Yeah, my grandma died too, you know. Yeah, my fucking uncle died too, and yeah, my friends all died too, and you know what I'm saying. And I'm here for you. I got a guy right now. It's freaking, why I bring that up particularly is I got a guy right now. His grandma died. You know, he's shit in the bed at work. Nobody's wanting to work with him because he's in fucking shambles, but he can't afford not to show up to work.
Right.
And it's like, I have the ability to talk to that guy, to fucking send him home and pay him, you know, to whatever it might be, and that's really my passion. I like teaching people two things: how to navigate the world as a young man who wasn't given the tools by their parents or their family, and how to physically defend yourself. And so, you know, and so those are my two passions, dude. I love it. I've done a lot of it for work. You know, I got a gym at work with fucking bags and weights and all that good stuff. And it's like, hey, dude, I'm here every day at 7. I'm working on the laptop or whatever. You guys don't show up till 8, but you want to learn how to fight, you want to work out, you want to fucking talk to somebody, I'm here. It's open door policy. And I've had a lot of guys take me up on it, you know. And so that's kind of my passion, whatever. That's what gets me going. And my work has allowed me to do that. So it's an outlet for something positive, right?
Dude, I love all of that.
Yeah.
Well, you get to be a mentor through your own means of earning a living.
Yeah.
And I always say this, like, you'll hear any episode you hear me talk about Crew Brian Jones Jr.
That's right.
And that man means a lot to me.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
He provided that mentorship.
Yeah.
And the no nonsense backing of, like, you're going to be a fighter.
Yeah.
It sounds, but not the, oh, this is what we kind of do here. It's like, no, in, or you're all in, or, you know, go do your own thing, but this is what we do over here.
Yeah, sure.
And having that, like, mentor through life and stuff like that. Because, like, I have my dad. Love my dad. My dad's been my mentor. Really, he's been in management my entire life. And so as soon as I hit 18, they're putting me in management at the warehouse that I worked at. So I got 40, 50-year-old dudes, like, I'm telling them what truck to go unload, and they're like, motherfucker,
I've
what?
been that guy,
and that's a rougher environment. That's, you're not going into, and then, but all these positions, so like I grew up, my parents split at 8, and then like I had a really good, really sheltered lifestyle right up until then, and I didn't realize that it was just a facade. It's like they couldn't afford any of this stuff, and that's basically what split them up. And then my mom went into, like, this little tiny shitty house. She didn't take care of anything. Like, stuff was all over the place. Couldn't have friends over. Sleeping on the couch for a long time. And then going through the, like, I wasn't allowed to really have friends over, so I didn't really have friends. And I was the fat kid always getting made fun of, and having to prove that I'm better than just the fat kid to make fun of. So I have my own version of that kind of stuff. But then going into like, fuck it, I'll just be me and be solo in like high school. And like, you know, everybody walks with their buddies through high school. That wasn't me. I walked to every class on my own. And but then going straight into the adult world, like I failed a class, they put me in a warehouse at 17 and working night shift, illegal as fuck. And then I'm in there and I'm like excelling. Cause now I'm with grown men that have circumstances that I have to overcome, or like, it doesn't matter my circumstances. I got to show up for work. Right. And so learning that path, I'm like, this is more where I was bred to be with more adults or anything like this. And it helped like my management thing, and then going through the management thing, having somebody to open door policy. Now I'm able to do that at the gym. So I get to kind of do a similar thing where I get to have a voice for young men, young women that don't really understand what they're going through or have a way to navigate. And so just doing the podcast and having somebody listen to this, like, oh, they made it out. You know what I mean? I always look at football player Richard Sherman. He was like from Compton, went to fucking Stanford. And, you know, you can work your way out of a bad situation. So.
There's a lot of examples of that. And with me, it's like, you know, knowing the importance of having somebody else to look to and say, what do I do? You know, it seems so simple, but like for me growing up, it's like, dude, and no way, shape, or form is this a fucking bashing session on my family, because my family loved hard, and they would have they would have ate a bullet for me, you know. And so it ain't that at all. I love my uncle dearly. He was my role model. I fucking got him tattooed on my arm. I think about him every day, you know. But so it ain't that. But what I will say is, you know, my uncle had been shot by the time he was fucking 21. I think he'd been shot 6 times, 7 times, been in and out of prison, all this stuff. I idolized him. I looked at him. But at some point I'm looking around like, fuck, dude, I want to be just like this guy, but not get shot 6 times and go in and out of prison. You don't want that lifestyle, but you know, you want. I want to command respect. I want to fucking have a name and all this good stuff. But what I was trying to say with all that is at some point in my life, I looked around. And it's like, there ain't nobody else there, dude. I didn't have no fucking football coach trying to grab me and pull me aside and help me out. I didn't have anybody else in my family. It was like, hey, kid, like, you know, that ain't the way, bro. Like, let's fucking bring you over here. Let me teach you a little bit of something else. No, dude, that didn't happen for me. I, you know, had a fucked up ass childhood and a thing. A lot of it on my own accord or whatever. And then hit fucking 18, 19. Knocked my lady up, who's my wife now, and had to figure it out in 9 months. You know, how am I going to change this around? I'm living in a fucking cockroach-infested apartment in the ghetto. There's gunshots every other fucking night. And I'm sitting there, you know, I can't even walk to my fucking car and get in it in the morning and go to work without getting jammed up by a bunch of dudes. And, you know, and I'm like, fuck. It was in Cali, you know, not here. And I'm like, fuck, dude. I got a son. I'm bringing a son into the world. And I'm about to do the same thing to this fucking kid. You know, he's going to be. I can't do this. I got to go. That's how I ended up in Washington. Because my wife was originally from here. We met in L.A. But she was originally from here. So I'm looking around. The second she told me I'm pregnant, I looked around that apartment, looked at my job. I made about $10 an hour. She worked at Starbucks. I worked at a water heater company, making $10 an hour installing fucking water heaters. And I'm like, looking around, dude, and I'm like, within 2 weeks, I had a U-Haul, everything I fucking owned packed up into it, and I was leaving everyone. Any friend I ever made, my whole family was down there, coming up here. I knew nobody. Her parents were up here, and that was that. And, you know.
That's scary in itself.
Dude, it was insane because I'm a Cali kid. I grew up, I lived in Missouri, like I said, from about, 4 to like 4th grade, 8 or 9 or something like that. But other than that, dude, I hadn't been anywhere, you know, fucking been anywhere. So I'm going from straight craziness coming out here. And it was like, I remember driving up here and getting into, and there's trees everywhere. I came up in October, so it was about this time, October 13th, 2013. Oh, wow. And I get up here and I'm fucking looking around and I'm like, this is insane. All these fucking trees are growing into people's yards. We didn't even have yards. We had fucking cactus and rocks, you know, rock beds. And if you had
different world.
Yeah, if you had grass, it's turf, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah, I was like, what the fuck? This is like something out of Alice in Wonderland, you know, and I pull up. And I know nobody, and I go get a job in Tacoma, and dude, I literally didn't know a soul and lived in complete solitude for a long time. You know, I went to church and shit, met a couple people there, but I was just trying. What can I do? You know, what can I do? I have this fucking kid coming, and I can't do this to him. I can't bring him in here and fucking, you know, into this apartment. I can't do this. So I picked up everything, moved out here, and then we're getting close to how the fighting thing started. So my work was about 2 doors down from Calvin's gym, Calvin Horton. He had a gym, Peak Performance. He had smokers do there and shit. And Master Sound was in there in the mornings. And I walked over there. I was like, fuck, dude. I was super out of shape. I was super fat. I was drinking all the time. I was just in a rough spot. I was completely alone. Like I said, I knew nobody, had nobody. And I was just working. You know, I think I made $12.50 an hour. So I worked every OT fucking hour I could, every weekend, every single, just to be able to pay the rent on this little house we got.
Yep.
And so I just had no life, dude. And so I walk into this place, and you know, Calvin's there. If you ever met Cal, he's a huge personality. He's fucking loud. He's all over you. And he's like, "What's up, dude? Fucking come here." And I walk over there, and I'm like, "Hey, I was thinking about signing up, right?" You know, and I told him straight up, I go, I don't have any money, you know. And he's like, and he charged me almost nothing, you know. It's like fucking $30 a month or something. And I'm like, I don't have any fucking money, but I work right here, and I want to come in here and train with these guys. And, you know, and he said, if you're here, I'm here at 5 a.m. every fucking morning. If you're here at 5 a.m., then you can pay fucking $30 a month. I think his membership is like $100 a month, so it's a huge, you know,
discount. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like fucking done. And so and then I started going. Oh, that was a funnier part of that is he grabbed some pads right away, and he's like, hit these pads. And I hadn't hit pads since I was a kid. I was probably 13 the last time I hit pads. I'm fucking 23 now in there. And I'm like, fucking bam, 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 bam. And he's like, yeah, you come tomorrow. And he's he turns, and he turns, he's quiet. He turns, looks at the other guy, and he's like, fucking guy. You know, because I'm fucking cracking. Bop, bop. And so that's how it started for me, is I would show up in order to get that $30 a month fucking membership, which is all I can afford. I had to be there at 5 or 6 a.m., whatever time you started class. And I would stay there until work started at 8. So I'd put 2-3 hours in.
That's a lot too in the day.
Yeah, and that dude got me in some crazy shape, and then he was throwing those smokers. You ever go to his smokers?
No. I heard about him. It was a long time ago. We weren't allowed to go branch out to other gyms at this time.
Bro, these fucking smokers were crazy. Picture a house party. There's been people that watch this and fucking went to those smokers. It was nuts. There's people on the fucking cage, shaking the cage everywhere around. It was like something out of a movie, right? But when I signed up for the gym, he had a smoker like a week later. And so I came and I watched, and nobody knew me yet. I didn't know anybody yet. I'm sitting back there and I'm watching. It was all kickboxing, and these dudes come in, and I'm watching these guys warm up, and I'm watching these fights, and I'm like, there's one guy on this card that could maybe give me a run for my money. One. He was the main event. He was undefeated, and I won't fucking drop any names. You know, well, whatever. So he knows what I'm talking about. Yeah. But there was one, and why I say that is because I've tried to. This guy's pulled out on, dropped the fight within a week of us fighting like 3 times. Right? He's scared. So anyway, I'm out there, and I'm like, there's one fucking dude here that can give me a run for my money, and I'm watching this shit, and I'm like, yep, I can do this. Sign me up for the next one, you know, and that's how it started. And so I started training, and within 3 months was my first fight, you know. Nice. And it was there, and I knocked the dude out in 21 seconds. And I remember I was scared of him because I'd been training 3 months, and he had been training 3 years at South Sound, you know.
Oh, okay.
And so I was like, I remember I was just like, fuck, dude, this dude's throwing me to the wolves, you know?
Oh, great. Now my brain's doing the, like, all right, you said this. It was around this time. They're from South Sound. I was fighting at this time. So
his name's Steve Church. And he was a really, really, really cool dude. And I
don't know him, but I know of him.
Yeah. He's a really, really cool dude. And everybody I fight's a really, really cool dude afterwards. You know what I'm saying? But he was, he wasn't ready, because it was like, I did not know how to. I knew how to fight. I did not know how to. It wasn't kosher, let's say that. So he comes out and he's thinking it's jab, leg kick, and I just fucking bar brawl him, dude.
Okay.
And just give him everything I got, and it was a little bit too much, but I was hooked. So 21 seconds, they fucking stop it. And I was absolutely hooked. I'd never felt a feeling better than that before in my life. And I was in, dude. And I was matched up. You know, I got 9 fights, and I've been doing this for a while. It's like 9 years. A lot of people are like, wow, dude, you freaking fight more. But in my defense, dude, I have tried, bro. In the beginning...
You're preaching to the choir. I've got more fights dropped than I have ever fought.
Dude, in the beginning, it was so fucking bad. Like...
show up to other events with your gear type shit. I know.
It was so bad. I was, you know, let's just say this. Calvin thought very highly of me, a lot higher than he should have, right? Like, I wasn't that good yet. I hit hard, and I wasn't going down for nobody, and I was going to give you everything I had, but I didn't have any technique. I wasn't very fucking, I had no defense. I'd just take them on the fucking
fight.
chin.
You had the heart, yeah.
I'd give him the
potential.
I'd give him the old forehead, you know, but I didn't know nothing, right? But a lot of these guys he was matching me up with would have probably fucking beat me, but they're scared shitless. And you know, I look back and it's like, dude, you know, there's a lesson in that. Anyway, a lot of those guys, I'll say it now on camera, they probably watch this. A lot of those guys probably would have beat me, but I was matched up in my first year, I think 14 times, and I fought 3 times. You know,
that's horrible.
I had 3 different fights pull out within 2 days of the fight thing. I had one the morning of. I drove to fucking Vancouver and they pulled the fight.
Yep.
Made weight.
Showed up to the venue and people are,
And I was cutting a lot of weight. Back then, I fought at 185 and I walked around about 210. And so, yeah.
So we got a lot of similarities in that, because I used to walk around about 205 and fight at 85.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah, it sucks
dropping weight like that.
So I was killing myself, and then nobody taught me to do it the right way, right? I was fucking throwing a trash bag on
this
and running
old
miles,
school.
Right?
I didn't know any better.
Not eating nothing, throwing a fucking trash bag on and running. And,
the worst way to cut weight.
Yeah, so I was getting so fucking mad. It was so funny, this promoter, he actually... he puts a picture. He was a promoter down south. I forget his name, but he puts a picture on Facebook, and it's me. And he didn't ask me. He didn't say anything. All of a sudden, I open Facebook, and there's a picture of me. And it says, "Where are all you 185ers and 205ers?" And it says, "All you tough guys scared to fight this big bad wolf from Tacoma," right? And I'm like, my stomach dropped. I'm like, fuck this, dude. Get this shit off of there. Tell this guy to delete it. I don't want to seem like some fucking douchebag, right? But it was that bad trying to find a fight. And so, you know, a lot of people are like, "Bro, you've been doing this a long time. You only got 9 fights. Fucks, you know." It's like, dude, I tried, bro. I should probably have 20 of them, but you know, it just wasn't like that. It was horrible. And so many times, put a training camp in, fucking cut weight, show up, especially in the beginning. And I'll say this on the camera. I'm sure there was a lot of guys willing to fight me. We were trying to match up guys that were, you know, new like me. I was 1-0. So any guy that was, you know, had 3-4 fights or less, those guys were steering clear. You know, and obviously they weren't trying to make me fight some freaking guy who'd been doing it forever, had a bunch of fights or whatever. So I'm sure there were people that were willing to fight me, but who we were looking at, which were trying to match up, you know, experience, and like Brian talked about on his thing, trying to have some fair matchups or similar experience.
It's tough for matchmakers at times.
Yeah, dude, there was nobody. So anyway, so that was that. I tried to fight as much as I could. I actually met this guy before I fought at
Which guy?
Brian Jones.
Oh
yeah. So that's
if you're gonna say LA Fitness in Puyallup, that's where I met him.
Yeah, so I was there every morning, bro.
No shit, because I was there too.
You guys would be in the racquetball court.
Yeah.
Back in the rack, and I used to watch you.
No shit.
And I didn't have the guts to go up and say, "Hey, bro, can I train?" Yeah, with Taki and them. And so let's talk about that. So that's how it actually started. So the way that I actually started in the fight scene around here was I go to a fucking Mariners game. I get out, had a couple beers, whatever. I'm walking, and I'm getting close to my truck, and about 5 trucks down, there's a group of these dudes in their fucking bashing out windows, right? Bashing out windows. So I fucking run across the street, and they're like almost to my car. Fucking another 45 seconds, they're gonna be gaffing all my shit, right? And so I couldn't see. It was real dark. Couldn't see how many of them there were, right? But I ended up running over there, confronting these dudes, and they beat the fuck out of me. There was like 6-7 guys.
Jesus.
They beat the living fuck out of me. They broke my nose, broke my orbital, my cheekbone. They kicked me in the fucking ribs, and stomach so much I had fucking blood coming out my ass.
Oh my God.
I was fucking mangled. Straight to the emergency room. Drove myself there, right? I get my fucking ass whooped for what felt like forever. It was probably a fucking, I don't even know, dude, 10-minute beat down or something. And so but they didn't break in my truck, so whatever. I get in my truck, I leave.
It might have been better off.
Yeah, dude, I probably should have just left them alone. But I remember, it's so funny because I remember I was like, no talking about it. I ran up, just like, boom, start swinging.
Unfortunately,
right?
I would have done the same shit today.
You know,
like insurance will cover all of that, but I've got too much in here that I'm not taking that loss.
So, but I remember there was a moment where I was doing pretty good. In the beginning, these guys were like, what the fuck is happening? This dude just came out of the shadows swinging on us.
All of a sudden, they fucking do
So I was dropping them, bro. I was dropping them. I was doing good, but eventually I fucking kind of slow down and I look around and I see all these fools are pulling their shirts off. And I just see six-pack, muscles, six-pack. Oh, fuck, dude, this is going to be rough.
Like, at least, well, they're in shape.
They weren't some they weren't some average Joe's dudes. A couple of those dudes could really fight. But anyway, it doesn't matter. They kicked the fucking shit out of me into, like, it was bad. I was hospitalized, right? And so when that was done, I was like, fuck this, dude. I'm going to start getting in shape. At the time, I really was. I was drinking all the time, like I said. Mm-hmm. And so I started going to LA Fitness in the mornings. And my fucking eye was black like this. And, you know, I've had a few people in my life that I've met that have really made a difference for me. And one of them is this guy, Pat McCleary. So I'm in the fucking dressing room and I'm sitting there and it's my first day there. I'm so embarrassed because the side of my face is completely black and swollen. And I can't even look anybody in the eye. I don't fucking want anybody to talk to me. I don't know how to lift weights. I'm on the bench press. I really don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Mm-hmm. And I'm just sitting there and I'm broken, bro. I'm broken. I'm damn near an alcoholic. My fucking wife is pregnant with our second kid. I have no money. I'm just fucked. And I'm sitting there and I'm like really contemplating life, you know. And I was supposed to be getting my clothes on, getting ready for work, but I just had this moment where I'm just like, fuck.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sitting there like this, and here comes Pat, and he comes in, and he's like, and he looks at me and goes, hey, you a boxer? I said, no. You want to be one? And I said, yeah. And he said, every day, you're going to meet me here at 5 a.m.
That's dope. Yeah.
And he says, my son's a pro boxer, and I ran a boxing gym for years. He's an old dude. Pat's like 70 right now.
Okay.
And he's my fucking, custom auto and shit. And so he's like, you know, and so I started showing up. And I was just so nervous it wasn't even funny. You know, I was just like, I didn't even know what the fuck was going on. But I go in there, and this dude starts showing me how to throw a jab. I think for the first month of doing it, you know, 3-4 times a week, I didn't throw anything but a jab. He's a real old school boxing guy, right?
I love that.
Fucking jab, and then he starts teaching you more stuff, and then you get into combos and yada yada. But Taki catches wind because he's there working out, doing his little CrossFit shit. Mm-hmm. So he's watching me. I see him, dude. Out of the corner of my eye, I could see him watching me, and I'm hitting, and I'm getting a little better, and I'm getting a little better, and I'm getting a little better. And Pat says, "All right, you're ready to spar. I'm gonna call that guy in here." And I remember looking over, and at the time, Taki was real small. He was still competing.
I was like, this is at LA Fitness? Mm-hmm. I remember when he sparred a couple times with people. I'm like, who you sparring with? I don't know
me,
them.
Bro.
Okay.
That was me. And so, and it eventually grew. There was about 5 of us in there sparring or whatever. But and then he would bring guys. But anyway, he was watching me, and Taki would wait until I got good enough or whatever. And then he's like, hey, dude, you know, yeah, I'll spar with that kid. So we would go, and twice a week we'd do 3 rounds. That's all I could do. I was freaking sucking wind. I was dying. I smoked cigarettes for years and drank and just didn't give a fuck about anything, right? And so we'd spar 3 rounds, and he was nice to me, and he didn't kill me, and you know he could.
Taki's Mr. Nice Guy.
Mr. Nice Guy. He was the best person I could have had to start out because I hit really, really hard, and I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. So I was hitting these guys way harder than I should have been, and you know a lot of guys.
No beginners.
You know, yeah, a lot of guys would have been like, let's teach this kid a lesson. He's gonna fucking wail on me, but he was just so cool. And the more I know about fighting, and the longer I've been around, I'm like, fuck, dude. I owe that guy so much because he was just so cool to me because he could have kicked my fucking head off and you know first it was boxing and then all of a sudden I'm like, hey, what are you fucking doing over there kicking that bag? Show me how to do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And before you know it, we were kickboxing and doing Muay Thai stuff and all kinds of shit, and he was teaching me and it was all good. But we did that. We did 3 rounds every Tuesday and every Thursday at 5:30 a.m. and we did that shit for years, for probably 1.5 years before I actually joined Calvin. So that's how I got started. That's how I got started out, and the Brian Jones was in there all the time, and Taki would talk to him, and I would fucking, you know, and he'd introduce me to him, and he took me, Taki just really, between Pat and Taki, they just introduced me to the whole thing, and I started getting better, and I started getting better, and I started getting better, before they kind of handed me off to Calvin or whatever, it was like at that point I was actually winning some rounds, and I could go more than 3, and my cardio was getting a little bit better, and I was running, and they just had me on a strict regimen, dude. Taki was like 100 kicks on each leg on this bag per day, no matter what, and then fucking Pat was like, you're running 3 miles a day, no matter what, and you're doing sprints twice a week, and and you don't fucking come here unless you got them done. Yeah, I won't train you, and so that's kind of how it was, and so it forced me to like get in shape a little bit and this and that, and at the same time I just started dabbling with Calvin. I think we had done kind of both, and then Calvin just threw me into the fucking, all right, you're a fighter, let's fight, and so I was fighting.
I love that though. That's how I came up. That's why I'm like, good. Yes. We'll see how you do. No, like you're gonna be a fighter or you're not gonna be here.
Yeah. So like I said. And that's a real number. I was signed up to fight, had an opponent 14 times in my first year, and I ended up only fighting 3 times. So that dude was like, this guy fight anybody, let's go. If you got less than 5 fights, here, this is your man, and you're within fucking 20 pounds, you're fighting him, we'll come to your show, you come here, fucking what, Calvin was like, let's go.
I'm going to say this real quick about that. So what year was this, 13, 14?
Something like that, yeah.
So this is where I'm at the tail end of my fight career.
No, it's not 13, 14. This would have been fucking like, I moved out here in 2013. I didn't start training until 2017 probably.
Oh, okay. So I'm well past.
Yeah.
All right. So we sparred only one time. You came to our gym and I'm like, this dude got some fucking hands. Like the way that I teach how to move forward, collapse in on the heavy hands with the heavy footwork, that kind of, and dominate from there and create your openings. Yeah. You did that to me the first day we sparred, and I'm like, this is gonna suck if I have to because I didn't know you were still fighting, but dude, if you would have dialed it back to 2013, 2014, they would have probably try to match us, and I'm not dropping out for shit. So that would have been a tough fight. I'm the guy that's gonna limp into the arena. Might not pass meds.
No shit, but that's how it started out, and I got a couple wins under my belt real quick. The first guy was 21 seconds. The second guy was like fucking, 45 something. And the third one was 1 minute and 21. Yeah. And they were just going. I was fucking absolutely hooked. It's all I could think about. It's all it kept me up at night. It woke me up in the morning. That's all I gave a fuck about was, dude, I think I can beat these guys. I think I could do something and be proud of myself and actually have like an identity of my own other than some fucking fuck up trying to turn his life around, you know what I'm saying?
Well, it becomes a lifestyle and becomes who you are.
Yeah.
Like you don't have, so I talk about this all the time, like you're talking about generational stuff. I'm talking about like your uncles and everybody talking, watching boxing, like Friday night fights and all that shit. And so we all know generationally, those motherfuckers live in the gym. And if you're not going to be that guy, I mean, yes, you have to support your people and support your family, but if you're not going to be that guy, you're not going to make a great run at this.
Dude. Yeah, and that's why so now you talk about, Calvin closes his doors, right? Calvin closes his doors, and I'm fucking, like, I'm in the middle of my fight shit. I got shit lined up. I got stuff coming up. I'm all of a sudden without a coach, without a place to train. I don't know anyone. Taki's damn near moved away or, whatever. It's this weird thing. I'm like, I don't know where to go. Whatever. And so I end up, this is where Julian comes into play, is I went and sat front row and watched him fight Kenneth guy, Asian guy, Kenneth something.
Okay.
He's a bad dude. He's fucking, I want to say Kenneth Cope or some shit, but I could be wrong. He's Asian guy. So Calvin's gym closes, and then I'm sitting front row at Northwest Fight Challenge. I'm watching fucking Julian Martin headline the show, and he's fighting Kenneth something. I want to say Kenneth Cope. I could be wrong. Asian cat, super good, and I'm watching this dude fight him, right, and I'm like just mesmerized. I'm like, that's how I want to fight Julian. Fucking chopping legs, dude's dropping down to one knee. Julian's like, get up, dude, I ain't done with you, you know what I mean? I remember at one point the dude they had some bad blood or something, I think, I don't know, maybe.
Okay.
but the dude goes down to us like, get up, motherfucker, or stay down, or whatever it was, and I'm like, him. I'm going to train with him. I don't fucking care where this guy trains. I'm going to train with that guy.
Fuck yeah. Julian was fucking good.
And so I got on Facebook. Where does this motherfucker train? Academy of Brian Johnson. Boom, I was there next day. You know what I mean? And that ended up being the best thing I could ever done for my fight career, or whatever you want to call it, or whatever, was meeting them guys. You know, Brian took a liking to me right away. Brian's amazing. He's always been good to me, and he's given me every tool that I need to be successful, every opportunity that he could possibly give me, you know, to be successful. He's just the perfect coach, dude. He does a really good job of letting you kind of run your own show and do what you want to do. I could go to Brian and say, I want to fight this guy on this card, and then 2 weeks later I want to fight this guy, and I want to fight this guy, and he's going to look at me and go, okay, gotcha, let's do it. How are we going to get ready? You ready? You know? And he just kind of, he's just a fucking good balance of like, what do you want to do, Rob? And this is what I think you should do, and let's figure it out together. And in the end, he always tells me, he's like, Rob, this is your shit, bro. What do you want to do, my friend? And that's so different from a lot of coaches. They're just like, this is what you're doing. Nope, I don't like that. Nope, you know. And, but yeah, I met Brian, the same story. I started hitting pads, and he's like, what the fuck? This dude hits hard. He's like, we want you here. I'm like, I'm fucking sold. I'm going to go train with that guy. And Julian at the time was fighting. Dude used to get real dark, bro. He's like fucking off in the corner. He's not talking to no. He's just fucking smashing bags. And I'm like, eventually, that guy's going to be my friend, and I'm going to learn from him, and we're going to do this shit. It's going to be me and him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And when this shit gets going, there ain't nobody going to want to fight me or him. So and eventually we did. We clicked, and we went some boxing rounds and shit. And I remember we went boxing rounds, and they were real close rounds, and he was surprised. He didn't know me, and he just beats the shit out of everybody. We had some real close boxing rounds, and he's like, fuck, all right. You know, and we start fucking becoming friends or whatever, and then we start going kickboxing rounds, and he fucking murders me. You know, throw them, dude. That dude's got some fucking kicks, but
he's so long too.
Oh, dude, it's ridiculous. But yeah, you don't ever want to fight Julian Martin in a street, in a parking lot, anywhere in open space. You're gonna fucking die. I don't care who you are. You know, but
just call him a sniper, because he's trained with us for a little bit, and I'm like, fucking overhand, like coming down from up here. What the fuck?
I know.
Top shot.
Yeah, he's fucking awesome. But his mind for fighting, and just like his love for fighting, the only person I could ever really compare it to would be him. I'm obsessed with it, and it's changing a little bit now as my priorities change and different things like that. But bro, for years and years, even before I started fighting, it's all I thought about. It's all I cared about. It's all, you know, just like I told you. And he's like that, where, you know, it may not be like that right now or whatever, and he'll come on here and speak for himself. But when I met him, it was like, we're in love with fighting. We're in love with specifically stand up, but we're in love with fucking fighting. And so we clicked up real quick, and he started training me, you know, and that's what changed it all. I went from being him and Brian together. Brian taught me the in-close stuff. Nobody's better at it than he is. You know, close range boxing and little dirty shit and he taught me it all in close. And then, you know, Julian taught me all the setups and how to close distance and fight long if I needed to, and all that good stuff. And just kind of more fight specific stuff, how to stretch your cardio out, how to fucking slow feed it to them. You know what I mean? They used to tell me that when I got there, Rob, slow feed it to them, buddy. You don't got to shove it down everybody's throat, because I just fucking, woo, you know. And
we're here to do that, though.
And so those guys, you know, they changed everything for me. I love them both dearly. I'll do anything for them, and I'm really grateful for them. And yeah, those are two dudes that fucking eat, sleep, and breathe fighting. You know what I mean? And if you want to be a fighter, and you want to be successful or not, you fucking whatever, dude. If you want to get in that cage, you got to have people around you that are obsessed with fighting. Physically, you know, the mental part of it, and I found those people, you know, and I drove all the way to fucking Lacey. I drove 30 fucking miles a day to go find them, but I found them, you know, and so yeah, that was that, dude, and so we start meshing with them, and you know, I was on a you know, fight specific stuff. I don't know. I was on a fight with when he was at the Clover Tech College. That was my first. Oh
yeah, the Cage Quest.
No, it was still Northwest Fight Challenge, but it was at Clover Tech. Okay. Now it's way down there, but it used to be in Lakewood.
Yeah, I remember.
Sick ass little card, but but yeah, he fought me on there, And I think that was my coming out party. It was the only fight I didn't finish. The guy was like fucking Homer Simpson.
Wouldn't go down.
Bro, I was
that
laying
episode.
into that guy, and he was like literally just shrugging it off. It's the only time I've ever met anybody. I think about that dude all the time because he doesn't fight anymore, and I'm like, fucking dude, why not?
That's funny because do you know who Chris Hartman was? He fought.
Yeah, redhead guy.
Yeah, so I fought him, and he was like, same thing. He's like, there's a picture of my head snapped back like this, and I'm just like, right back to it. He's like, I've never seen anybody, let alone, he's like, I gave you everything I got and like multiple shots and you didn't go down. I lost dramatically, but he was just like, because like he kneed me in the stomach, and then I'm watching on the video, he goes to the neutral corner, he looks over at Belton, he's been fighting under Belton for a while, and he's just like, what the fuck? And he's like, he everything he got, and then a knee to the stomach, but it's also because I cut like 20 pounds that day before. Yeah. So, your body doesn't quite operate the way you want it to.
So so that was kind of my coming out party because I fight this guy. Nobody knows who I am. And still a lot of people don't. I'm like fucking down there with them guys. I don't really mesh with people or
keep
whatever.
yourself, stay in your lane. I love it.
Kind of that. So even now, I got 4 titles. I done fucking knocked everybody out in the first, second round, whatever. And still a lot of people have no idea who I am. But back then they really didn't. And so this fight was like it. I was all hyped up. I'm jumping off the cage, doing fucking Superman punches off the cage and fucking doing the Max Holloway thing at the last second. Fuck you, let's go, And so
it's
I won
fight at the end of the day.
Yeah, dude. So I won over a lot of fans with that one. That's the one fight that I didn't finish. That guy could have took it all night. I don't think I would have ever been able to knock him out. Like I said, he doesn't fight anymore. But he's a dude from fucking Bellingham. I forget his name, but he doesn't fight. His last name's Randall or Ramdale or something. But he doesn't fight anymore. But if he did, he would be giving people fucking issues because in a 5-round fight, you'll gas yourself out trying to kill him. You ain't gonna fucking hurt him. And so a lot of you fools are lucky he doesn't fight anymore. But yeah, that was that. And then COVID happened, right? And then COVID. So at the time, I was like 3-0, 4-0, and then COVID happened, and everything fucking shut down. I started, having guys come over in my garage. And that's where I met a lot of the guys from Five that were coming over to do jiu-jitsu and shit. Nice. I hustled up some mats, bro. I didn't have any money, so I did fucking. This guy this guy was from Ring Demon, and I did a job at his house, and he had a bag of fucking gear. I always had all the cheapest shit, just whatever I could, I had nothing, right? So he had a bag of gear with like good shit in it, Rival gloves and fucking, and windy fucking shins and all this stuff. And then he had rollout mats, like the nice ones. Yeah. And I'm right there and I'm like, and you could tell this guy doesn't train anymore. He's freaking like, he just doesn't train anymore. He's older. And I'm like, how the fuck, so what's up with those? Cause he owed me some money, like $1,200. Like,
damn.
Scrap it. Give me fucking pads, give me that bag, and we're good. And so he did.
Fuck yeah.
That was my first set of good gear. I used that shit for years, and then I had those fucking mats. So when COVID started, I rolled those mats out in my garage. I was like, come on over. And I just open invite, dude. Everybody came over to grapple. We did Muay Thai. We fucking beat the shit out of each other. And I just had every day, I'd have fucking 10, 15 dudes in my little garage. It wasn't no bigger than this. We just fucking go at it. And I got really good doing that. I was like, even grappling and stuff, I've done a lot of grappling. I'm not very good at it. I can wrestle, but my jiu-jitsu shit kind of sucks. But even grappling, dude, I was getting so much better so fast because the fucking garage is full of purple belts and brown belts and even a couple black belts.
Good quick.
The guy that runs the Vital shit, he would come in there and just murder everybody. You know what I mean?
Which one? Kyle, tall, super big
the white
dude?
guy.
Yeah.
He would come in. Yeah, Taki'd be there, and Taki's fucking beast. So anyway, that was like a blessing too. As I look back, like a lot of weird shit happened, COVID, and then me running into this guy and being able to hustle up these mats so that people could have a place to train. And I'm letting a bunch of strangers come over to my garage and fucking kick my ass in grappling. But all that shit just made me tough, made my fucking cardio stretch, and just turned me into a monster. So by the time COVID was over and it was time to get cracking again, it wasn't no bullshit little fights. It was like, I'm fighting for title.
Yeah, you don't got no rust.
I'm knocking people out, dude. And that's how it's went, So yeah, the fight thing's been cool, I'm in a weird spot right now where it's like fucking 32. I'm about to, I've been out. I had like a fucking decision where I was like, okay, getting older. It's about, everybody's telling me, okay, it's time to go pro. It's time to go pro. Which I'll say something about that for all you guys. I don't know how many times I've heard, Rob, when are you going pro? When are you going pro? I'll go pro when I get in that ring and I can actually fight how I train and how I spar. When that happens even once, I'll go pro. But everybody's sweating me about going pro. There's fucking fighters out there that have 17, 18, 20 amateur fights and I got 9 and everybody's like, go pro, just because I'm knocking motherfuckers out. Yeah, that shit bugs the shit out of me. Look around, you know, I got the least amount of fights of anybody I'm fighting. You know
I wouldn't say that necessarily means that you're not pro level.
It's just, well,
but in here, and like what you want to accept, sometimes that's not where, you know, I can see the disconnect.
I run around and spar, dude, and I go to these gyms and I start sparring with people, right? And people are like, wow, why aren't you pro?
Yeah.
It's
well,
like,
yeah.
Well, bro, I got 9 fights. I guess I can go pro. I'd probably be okay. You know,
Be fine.
I'll probably be all right. But go tell that fucking guy he's got 17 of them. You know, this guy's better be hearing that shit.
I agree. Well, no, it's an interesting thing because, like you said, we're in love with stand-up. This is not the best area to go pro in for stand-up.
Oh, and I've always said the same thing.
And it's like and it's getting better, but it's being drip fed. It's not like it's coming on like a tidal wave. So if you go pro, you're gonna have like 1 or 2, maybe 3 cards to fight pro kickboxing on.
It'd be 1 a year probably.
But you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it's not, the other ones, if you wanted to be frequent, you'd have to travel.
Yeah. And I'm not against it. I'm about there. I told everybody, you know, this will be my last, I don't have anything lined up, but this will be my last AMI fight and then we'll go pro.
There you go.
But that's just something that's bugged the shit out of me. I'm like, bro,
hit number 10, make it fucking like legit, and then fucking go
number
pro.
10.
I love that.
And so anyway, what I was getting at was I had this conversation with myself. It's like, dude, I'm either going to fucking, I have 3 options here. I can go pro. I can try to fucking rattle off some fights in the next year, do fucking 4 of them real quick. And so that I feel ready to go pro or whatever. Or, you know, you're 32 years old, you got these businesses that are taking you over, I can juggle everything.
Mm-hmm.
I can juggle everything pretty well, but you know, something pays, you know, if I'm in fight camp, it costs the business. And my
always
fucking,
a sacrifice.
If I'm training at Brian's till 9:30 at night, my kids are fucking staying up waiting for me, and it gets old. I can deal with all that, and I have. The last 4 fights have been like that. I've owned a business, and I've had my fucking kids, and I'm training down there from 7 to 8:30 and driving an hour back to Gig Harbor.
It's a lot, though.
It's a lot. I could deal with all that and I could juggle it, but dude, like I just got a gut punch when, you know, I'm getting ready for this fight. So I fight this last guy. Super cool dude. He's fucking dangerous. Big guy. He's a lot bigger than me. And I don't know. I felt like he's a lot bigger than me. Everybody says we're the same size, but he's a big guy. Brandon Henley. He's got a lot of fucking knockouts. I fight him just recently on the last card. And that goes well, you know. That goes well. Is all I'll say about that. But I was scot-free for the most part. I felt good, no injuries. I was cool, and so I'm like, all right, well, fuck it, we're gonna do it again. We're gonna drive our asses over there. I'm gonna take that Northwest Kickboxing League belt, right? And I was gonna fight this tough 5-0 little Mexican, short, stocky Mexican guy. I was gonna fight him. I was super pumped, and it was like. I announced the fight. They send me the poster. I put it on Facebook. I announce it as I'm walking into the gym. And all I said was, 1 month from today, we're back at it. And this one's got my blood pumping. I'm excited about this one, right? And I walk into the gym and we're sparring. And, you know, one of the newer dudes absolutely kicks my fucking face off, just obliterates my nose, right? And so I'm fucking sitting there. I've never pulled out of a fight before. I'm just got locked in with this title fight. I'm really pumped about it because it's not Brian's card. We're actually going to travel and go fight somewhere else.
Yeah.
I'm fucking super pumped. And the worst nose break I've ever had by far. This dude cut my nose in half with his shin. It was like just fucking horrible, right? And I'm still dealing with it. This will be my second surgery on that nose break, October 29th. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, fuck, dude. If that wasn't just a sign, you know, I can't help it. I'm sitting there and I'm like, fuck. I'm all fired up and get ready to go in, and God or the universe or whatever is just like, nope, 6 months you're sitting. You know what I mean?
I hate that, yeah.
And so that's where I'm at right now. It's a really weird place, bro, because I'm like, I can deal with all this shit. If I had to fight every weekend in that fucking cage, I would, and I'd enjoy it. I'm good. You know, I can't deal with fucking laying in bed, laid up with my kids. Daddy, are you okay? Crying and looking at their dad all broken and all fucked up. And I'm 32 years old and I'm sitting here and I'm just like, damn, what the fuck am I going to do? Because I'll tell you right now, I'll fight any of these guys that are in my weight bracket or anywhere around it. I'll fight each and every one of you one after another. I don't care. But there's so much that goes into, with me just being a fighter. I'm stretched so thin. I got all this shit. So I'm at the point now where it's like, what am I going to do? And so, you know, a decision. And so then I'm out of the gym. I've been out of the gym about 3 months, getting fat, not doing much. You know, I lift weights here and there, but nothing crazy. My nose is just now enough. I still can't get hit, but I can probably move around a little bit. And so I've been out of the gym 3 months and I'm just not happy, bro. And I had this realization and I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to have to do, but I'm going to have to be a part of this fight game thing forever. So either I'm coaching, either I'm fucking reffing, judging. I'll be the guy who closes the cage door. I don't fucking know.
But you got to be a part of it.
I can't because I'm sitting at home and it's like, I'm miserable, bro. It's like fucking, I got everything going for me and I'm like, you know, I just can't do it. I can't be without it.
Bro, you fucking just hit me in the gut with that one. I blew out my lower back in Valentine's Day 2018, L5S1 rupture. Blew out the disc. Everyone's for like a long time like, oh, sucks you'll never get to kickbox or do Muay Thai again.
Yeah.
So, and I'm like, I never believed that. Like I never told myself that that's what's going to happen. Sure. I was afraid of it. But like it'd be like a year would go by, barely getting better and go, I'm like, oh, I can kick the bag a little bit. And I do like a double kick and it goes again and I'm just fucking laid out crying because I'm fucking doing well and all of a sudden I'm not. It rips the guts out of you, right? So something I always knew is like, I have to go back to this. Like no matter, I was in management for a while, for a long time. And then it's like drawing me away from it and I'm losing my mind because I'm not part of it. So yeah, I think a lot of us that are dedicated, especially for a long time, truly dedicated, we find ourselves, that's where a lot of our value, internal value kind of came from. And so not being part of it, like, especially not being able to spar, then get rid of those little fucking primal, edgy shits that come up.
Well, yeah, dude, that all that stuff's true. And then for me, it's like, this is the only thing I've ever been good at. I rode bench at football. I wasn't no good. I sucked at fucking basketball. I've never been able to do anything but fight. Fighting's been the only thing I was ever any good at. And it's like, this is really the only thing I have. I'm good at business. I can teach people business and I can teach people fighting. And that's what makes me happy. It's not like I have all these different avenues of fucking social groups I can be a part of or impacting kids or the youth or whatever. And I have a passion for that.
Still not as satisfying, I think, but yeah.
No, dude. So you're like, okay, what's your passion? Well, I like to help troubled youth. That's what I really like it, you know. How are you going to do that? What tools do you have? Well, these guys aren't in business. They don't own companies, so I can't really help them there.
Exactly.
I can kind of tell them what I did, but I can teach these motherfuckers how to fight, you know. And so that's where I'm at, dude. I was like, and this was a realization I had pretty recently, is I'm sitting there and I'm watching TV with the kids and I'm hanging out and I love my children and I love my wife and I love being around the house. Anytime we get together it's cherished, you know, but I'm sitting there and I'm like, dude, how am I ever not going to be a part of this stuff? And I'm like, what am I going to do? What the fuck am I going to do? Because this is my entire life is sewed up in this. I don't have no fucking friends. My friends are at the gym. My family's at the gym.
It's my social life.
My passion and is at the gym. And so, yeah, that's where I'm at, bro. That's where I'm at. I'm sitting here and I'm like, dude, how many times can I fucking lay up in bed, watch my kids cry, be sitting for 6 months, you know, can't fucking do anything I like to do, which I'm not complaining. There's a price to be paid. You know, I love this journey. It's given me a lot of pride and I feel real fucking good about it. And I've done a good job, you know, and I never wanted to be the champion of the world. I just wanted to be a champion to my family and to my kids and to my friends. And I'm that, you know, I'm not the baddest guy in the world, but to my kids I am, to my wife I am, to my friends and the people who grew up around, nobody can beat me, you know. And that's all I ever wanted. So I'm fucking happy. I don't hate the situation, but man, it's getting rough. just getting fucking injured and laying around and not being able to do what I need to do is bad. I'm going to paint a picture. My nose is broken. I got 2 fucking black eyes.
Yep.
And I'm going to a business meeting with these plumbers literally 2 days later after that. I'm in there and these guys are like, and they're plumbers, you know, they get it, whatever. They actually like it. I bring a lot of them to the fights and shit.
Cool, yeah.
But at the same time, they're like, bro, when are you going to fucking grow up? Like, we're in business. Like, what are you fucking doing?
Yep.
Playing superhero, you know? And so yeah, dude, I'm just in this weird ass spot where I'm either going to fucking heal my nose up and go nuts and fight everybody and everything every fucking weekend and so that I can get my fix and call it a day, or I need to find some way else to be a part of this stuff without banging myself up. So that's where I'm at, man.
Well, there's a lot of avenues.
Yeah.
Dude, you mentioned doing a podcast. Like, I thought that was a great idea. Like, this is not something I mean, you probably heard me say it on Brian's podcast or whatever, but not something I designed. I was just like, oh, we're just going to sit down and record it because everyone keeps asking for more stuff. And it was like, and it just hit. It was like weird. And I grew up as the fat kid, always getting made fun of. No friends after my mom split and everything. And so all of a sudden being like the guy that is on camera, and then the guy that people are requesting to go places and be on camera. I'm like, me?
Yeah, dude.
What for? Like, what the fuck?
Well,
why? Why me?
Because people need a chance to talk about this shit. It really is. The way that you do this is so like, it's really the way to go. I talked about it a little bit, but it's like, for me, you and my story are similar, where, you know, you're the fat kid, you're getting fucked with, you're alone, your parents split up, very similar to mine. But there's people out there, dude, that we're connected with that have that same fucking burning whatever inside of them, where they have to be a part of this. This is their life, this is their identity, that didn't grow up like that. And I want to know why. What the fuck are you doing here getting punched by me?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Was the 65-year-old, his name's Lenny, you know, but 65-year-old Asian dude that owns a fucking teriyaki spot is sparring with me and trying to take my head off. And I'm looking at, what's wrong with you? I want to know.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Like, what is this?
Yeah, dude. And so there's something that connects us all. And then when I look around the room at our gym, we just have so many different kinds of people and kids, and it's like, dude, you're in here getting your shit rocked around for fun. Like let's talk about this.
We're paying money.
That's right.
Until you, like, even pros, you ain't making up how much you've invested. Like, I don't know, unless you start making like millions of dollars, like in the UFC top, like multiple championships, you ain't making the money back.
No.
Like, you're not making in the physical and life demands that it takes. Like, you have to do it out of passion. And so you actually said in my very first podcast, it was my buddy XJ, and he's like he just finished grad school at UW and stuff. I'm like, and this dude, he doesn't have the best technique, but he's got the fire in him. He's gonna bring the fight to you, and it's gonna, like, I got way better technique than him. I can out technique him, but he's gonna break through it. His fight, like how you said, like, your fight, your brawler status can beat technique when you're determined enough. And that's this guy. And I'm like, why the fuck do you want to do this?
Yeah.
Like, you're about to go be a doctor.
And I'm like, seriously interested. Like, I want to fucking sit down and find out why. What is it? You know, what is it? It's crazy. When you look at these fighter stories, even well-known boxers and this and that, and they start talking about, you know, the way they came up or how they ended up in a fucking fight gym or whatever. It's wild. You got guys I was in gymnastics my entire childhood, and the UFC gym was fucking next door, and so, you know, I ended up over there. And then you got kids that were like, hey dude, like the Diaz brothers, I went to the gym so I can get a fucking burrito because they had food.
I love that fucking
you know what I mean? and it's just nuts, dude. It literally fascinates me, and it still does. I've been around a long time now. I still walk in the gym, and at least once a day I'm like looking at this guy, what are you doing here? Not in a bad way, like fucking come on. But I'm just like, what the fuck? I'm a little off. I'll tell you that too. If I'm a little fucking off, there's something wrong with me, bro. And it's been there since I was a kid.
Same.
And
like, we're Misfit Island.
You know what I'm saying? But you don't seem like that. What is it? You know?
Like,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's something though. They're like, you're onto something with that. You know, something that, since we're just kind of on the subject of like what this could look like after fighting, something that always really impressed me about Uriah Faber.
Yeah.
is he would take his team and teach them business ethics, so that and teach them, hey, there's life outside of fighting. And you actually, you're almost doing that in reverse by allowing your employees the avenue to come train with you outside of like the specific work hours. And so there may be something there, and sitting down with them, like, what, you know, you never know, man. So Johnson Asana, I don't know if you know, probably know Johnson. He just started doing like a little mini podcast of his own. I love it. So, like, more of us putting ourselves out there. Like, I don't think that's something that we've done enough of here in the Pacific Northwest. And like you getting here in front of the camera, it takes a lot. Like Brian, when he did it, he's like, bro, what the fuck? What if I say this? I'm like, it's gonna be fine. We just sit there and bullshit.
He did a good job.
He did great.
I know him so well. I was like, oh fuck, he's shitting. He's all in the chair, but he did a good job, Brian.
So I didn't even notice any of these things. And that's where it's like, it takes the people that know you to be like, oh, he's nervous right now, or something's going on. Cause like, I didn't pick up on any of it. And, but you have a lot of avenues and a lot to offer, man. And, just in starting teaching how to fight, or like putting yourself out there so that somebody's willing to approach you about it, because you're not like you said, you're walking these board meetings, and this is something, when I was in management, I'd be the bull in the china shop. So I'd be like, I don't give a fuck what your rank is, or like what your title is. This is wrong until this is right. It doesn't, nothing else matters. And then they'd be like, the whole team would be like, you're talking to the big boss like that. You don't do that. I'm like, I don't care. But it worked. And so you kind of walking into these positions, like with the tats and being a fighter and all this stuff. But what I always learned is, like, it doesn't mean you're not supposed to be there. It's like, I'm not super religious. I don't go to church. I don't follow, but I always say, like, God put me in a certain position, and that's why it works. And so, like, if whatever puts you in that position, man, fucking go all in. You're doing great. Man. Right?
I'm trying, buddy. That's what all this is about. It's even what this is about, you know. I don't know. I'll have to rewatch it to see if I did okay. But for me, it's like, I just want to freaking tell people, there's people that are watching this that are like, yep, I get it. I'm like that guy, you know? And for me, it's just fucking, you know, you got a lot of, like, I wanted to say this, like, I read this thing the other day, and it says, being a fighter in 2025 is like being a SoundCloud rapper in fucking 2017, right?
Oh, and I'm like, God, that hits.
I'm like, bro, it's true. Okay, it's true. But I'm like, fuck that. I'm going to fight that with every, you know, ounce of my being. That ain't me. That ain't my people.
I just mean from, like, the people that are outside looking in, you're like,
oh, everybody's a fighter now. They're their own fucking, how you call it, hype man. And social media has just been an awesome thing, and also a really fucking cringy, horrible thing. It's just rough.
Again, this is not ideally what I wanted to do. I wanted, like what Brian said, he's like, I wanted to be the guy in the background. I wanted to let what I've done speak enough to where if people want me around them, cool. If if what I do and produce and what my heart's in doesn't get me to that, then I'm not worthy enough. But like, fucking getting in this position and now having to do everything social media style, and then people wanting more, I'm like, where the fuck was this 105?
Bro, seriously. I mean, it's getting wild out there, and like, I think that it's important when we do this type of stuff, just fucking bring it back down to reality. You know, a lot of these podcasts are like, you know, not yours, by the way, but just in general, a lot of this stuff that I watch is bullshitting about, you know, fucking such and such fight and this and that. And it's like, talk about whatever you want, but let's get into it. Let's get real about this shit. Let's because people need that. You know, people need that. So.
I'm all about the depth. Like there's everywhere I go, it's like you see places where you go and it's like surface level stuff, and then you see once in a while you'll meet somebody that's like actually deep right off the bat, and those are the people I go all in on. And it's like you said, we could talk about like, oh, it's the weather. We're in Western Washington. The weather is a subject every fucking day.
Bro, fighting is a very deep, primal, intimate thing, and it needs to be treated as such. Not fucking, you know. I probably sound like a crazy person saying that, but to me, it's like
any fighter is gonna agree.
It's like, dude, this is just about the deepest shit you can do, and I don't want to fucking water it down and poison it with all this bullshit. So if I can get on here and be super vulnerable and like fucking deep or whatever the word is, about just honest and real about me and what I struggle with and how I came up, and here I'm a fucking 32-year-old guy trying to figure out how to navigate not only life but fatherhood and fucking business stuff and making a living for my family and setting my kids up, and this fighting shit and where all this plays into, because that's really my heart, you know, and all this stuff. I can get on here and just talk real about it, then maybe, you know, maybe I've like, you know, scratched a little bit of this superficial bullshit off, you know.
Yeah, no, and so, you're really well spoken.
Yeah, thanks.
You're really well articulated. Your message came across great.
Thanks,
this is a good episode. I do want to say sorry to listeners. My dog is seeing his truck parked out front and is going nuts. Like, who's here? I didn't get to fucking meet him. So if there's a dog barking in the background, it's my little scrappy dude motherfucker. It's about this big.
Give this guy props, man, because these videos, they're fucking. We're sitting here in a garage. We've got a cell phone doing it, a light. I love it. It just makes everything so much more raw, more real. And so the dog barking in the background, fucking bring it, dude. I like it. So,
thank you, man.
Yeah, it just kind of shows, you know, this ain't a fucking studio. This is just two guys that have been around a while talking about fighting and how, you know. And
how it's life.
Yeah, bro. Fighting is life. I like that.
Fighting is life. Well, to say, like, so everyone knows who Halle Berry is. I fucking had a thing for Halle Berry for a very long time. Probably still do.
Was she Catwoman or Batwoman or some shit?
Catwoman, but she, you know, I wasn't worried about the volume being on during that. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But no, like she's doing some like award speech, and she's like, "I'm a fighter." And back when I was a little more egotistical and fighting, and I'm like, "What's your record? How many fights you got?"
Yeah.
So I'm like, but. It is a metaphor for life because fighting's in our DNA. Bro. Like it always has been, fight or flight. You see even in the women when they come in and fight, they have like that motherhood, like I'm gonna whoop some ass. I'm not here to be egotistical. Not for the most part.
Sure, yeah.
But I feel like it's a metaphor for life. So.
Yeah, man. Yeah. There's a reason that you have all these people say, "Oh, I'm in your corner." That's a fight term, right? People say, you got to get up when you're knocked down. You can't stay down. Get up. That's a fight term. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I don't know if it's Brian or Julian or one of them have said it a bunch of times, but it's like, I don't know, they probably pulled it from somewhere, but it's like fucking, there's a baseball game here and a football game here and a fight over here. Everybody's watching the fight. You know what I mean? And so it's in our DNA whether we like it or not. And for me, it's been a part of fucking everything about me since I can even remember. And I know there's more people like me, you know, out there, and so yeah, I'm still trying to navigate through all this stuff, and that's all I really wanted to talk about. You know what I mean?
Well, I appreciate you coming on, man, because a lot of people haven't gone that deep on stuff on here yet. They have, but I really appreciate you coming on and talking about the things that you've been through, because there's going to be, I want to say I would say there's always somebody looking up to you that you don't know about. And I try to tell that to my students. I'm like, look, you're fucking around over here. That kid over there could be like thinking you're the greatest thing in the fucking world. And like you're talking about the way that you came up. And it's like you hit a certain stage where you're like, I don't want that specific life, but I want the qualities that were instilled in me. And I want to provide that for your family moving forward. And now juggling real life, I don't know any fighter that doesn't. They always say like the David Goggins thing where he's like, you got to be in balance. Otherwise you're not going to be great at anything. And I've sometimes suck at being balanced, but you know, I think we all struggle to find that, man. So thank you for coming on, breaking it down, and hopefully even the closest people to you get something from this.
Yeah, sure, man. Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, bro. Yeah. Let's go ahead and wrap it up.
All right.